Hello everyone, welcome to Tier List Tuesday. I'm 10 Types, and today I'm going to be going over some of the best cards and pretty much all the cards in Marvel Snap's Pool 3 or Series 3 that are 3 cost or less. So I'm breaking this up into 2 parts because, quite frankly, there's too many of them to cover in one video. You can see the POS is already getting pretty big. Check out the Series 2 and Series 1 parts of this tier list. There are a lot of cards, obviously. There are like 200 in the game or something, so I've broken it up some. And obviously you can see there are a few S tier cards, but quite frankly, a lot of the best cards are Series 3. And probably expensive Series 3 cards, but there are some very good cheap Series 3 cards that are like 1 or 2 costs, but we're just going to go over them here. Also, I'm not counting cards that came out in the Savage Land season, so currently the only ones that would fall under this category would be Zabu, who is pretty good, but still a bit early to say exactly how good. And also one of the newest ones, Sauron or something. I don't remember. I don't know if he's any good. I haven't seen him played at all, but I think it's an interesting card that could be played in Zero, which we'll get to in this video. But overall, there are just a ton of really interesting ones here. A lot of the ones from earlier pools weren't as interesting, but pretty much all these have some really interesting, somewhat niche, but very powerful uses. Starting off here, we'll start with Adam Warlock. And a relatively underwhelming card, probably D tier. Allows you to draw, but it doesn't really provide any value. You need to be winning that location already. So, it used to be probably an F tier card. I'd say he's moved up to a D tier, maybe top of D, maybe even into C. Certainly not high C, though. Probably somewhere around. I'll put him bottom of C. I'll put Adam Warlock's top of D. Pretty underwhelming, very niche. You can play him in, I guess, Mr. Negative, and that's pretty much it. Mr. Negative, when you're playing Bast and maybe Valkyrie, you could do Valkyrie. You could do, I don't know, there's some other cards that work pretty well with it, but overall, I'd say Adam Warlock's a relatively underwhelming card. But if you pick it up, you can certainly throw it in some decks. Agent Coulson, another pretty bad card. It's probably F tier. He puts some other cards into your hand, but they're not going to help you most of the time. Probably down like here. Mid F tier. He's pretty bad. I wouldn't really recommend using him too much. Maybe in battle mode, which is coming out soon, it could be okay. But overall, I'd say Agent Coulson pretty underwhelming. It doesn't really compare to some of the really good 3-cost cards there in the game right now. And so, I probably don't play this card. Maybe in Devil Dinosaur, but even then, maybe not. Baron Mordo, in my opinion, this card's hot trash. It allows your opponent to draw a card from their deck, and it costs 6, but it's not really hurting them much. It's a card that they probably just wouldn't draw anyway, so it's not actually limiting the resources they have, and sometimes you just help them by drawing them an extra card. Overall, it's pretty horrible. I can't really think of any time. I guess that's some synergy with Ronan the Accuser, which isn't even that good of a card to begin with. But overall, Baron Mordo, I wouldn't really ever recommend playing this card. I think I recently pulled it. I can't see myself playing it. So, don't play this card pretty much ever. I don't think it has much value. Bast, this card's really good. It's certainly A tier. Probably top of B. Bast powers up your hand, setting all cards in your hand to 5 power, 3 power, not 5, but 3, which isn't that much power, but you can have cards like, for example, Adam Warlock really wants Bast, but then just cheap cards, or Mr. Negative, stuff like that. So there's a Sarah Negative, Mr. Negative, Silver Surfer list, and Sarah and Mr. Negative are, if you didn't see my one video where I ranked the top cards, they were actually 1 and 2. Bast really helps out this deck, though. And Bast just is very strong. I think a bit out of favor at the moment, especially if you have more powerful cards. Bast isn't going to get you up to that higher power value, but it gives you a bit more value sometimes when you're struggling to play your early cards. Bast just gives you a nice little buff. Also with Iron Man, Bast is really good because you're essentially just getting a ton more power and a few other cards, but overall Bast is pretty underwhelming. Unless you play it in those very powerful decks, in which case Bast is amazing. Beast, in my opinion, one of the most fun cards, Probably mid B tier though. Sends cards back to your hand. Essentially, the card that represents the bounce archetype. This probably belongs in mid B, maybe somewhere around here. Let's like we'll put Beast here. I'm also gonna switch Enchantress Blue Marvel here real quick. But Beast just returns cards to your hand and allows you to play them again for cheaper. Okay in certain lists. Very few very strong combos, notably the Collector and Bishop works really well with those. But Beast can be a bit weird and very hard to play as well. So Bounce isn't a fun archetype, but not necessarily the strongest. We see Black Cat, who recently got buffed to 3/7. You see here. She's still pretty bad. I'd say she's probably C tier, and probably low, mid C tier, somewhere like here. She gets some value in Hella discard or discard as a whole, but overall she's a pretty bad card, and I wouldn't really recommend you. Actually, no, she's much lower than that. She's like probably F tier. Looking at the other cards we got here, Black Cat's pretty bad, maybe playable in Hella, but not particularly good in Hella discard. And overall, she's just not that good. She powers up Morbius, which is fine, I guess, but not that good. Black Widow, I don't really know too much about this card. It sends a Widow's Bite to your hand and to your opponent's hand, which stops them drawing. So that can be really detrimental. It doesn't provide that much value. I'd say this card is pretty weird to classify. It can be okay in control stuff, but not that good. I'd say probably C tier. Yeah, we'll pop her there. So I'm going to have to zoom out even more so you can see the whole tier list now. But yeah, we're getting so many cards, so I've decided to put it all in one list. So in the end, you'll see this big tier list with everything, and you can compare cards from all the different series with each other. But Black Widow, probably C tier, somewhere around here. Honestly, a lot of these C tier cards are pretty solid. She's probably pretty bad at a C tier. So like bottom C, I don't know. You could play her if you want, but comment down below what you think if you played with Black Widow. Your thoughts on how good she is. I haven't messed around with her too much, and usually when you get hit by Black Widow, it's not that bad, so I don't think she's that detrimental. A Brood, a very solid card. She's playing Mr. Negative, Sarah, Silver Surfer, Patriot, so probably she can push power into Death's Domain and stuff like that as well, which is really nice. So she's probably going to end up being, looking at the cards here, she's probably upper B. I think she's one of the better cards. We see her Brood right next to Squirrel Girl. Two very similar cards, but I think Brood's, I don't know. Brood's a bit less versatile. Brood's better than Squirrel Girl, but still two very similar cards, as well as Mr. Fantastic, allowing you to push power into different lanes, and also have like a lot of versatility and still a bunch of power. So it's generally a very good card there. Cerebro, one of my favorite cards, a buffing up card. I recently posted a Cerebro video where things were interesting. This card is a bit inconsistent. And when I say a bit, it like doesn't work probably 2/3 of the game you run it in, but buffs all the cards with the highest power. So Cerebro probably is C tier. I'd like to put him higher, maybe top of C, but he comes up short a lot. Colleen Wing, an okay discard card. I don't actually play discard too much. I'm missing a few of the important pieces, but I think Colleen Wing's okay. She's good with Swarm, but she's not that good. She's probably like C tier, somewhere around here. I'm going to switch Strong Guy and Mr. Sinister. Actually, I'll put it below Mr. Sinister here. She's pretty okay, and she has a solid stat line, but overall I'd say she's a bit underwhelming. Dagger, one of the better move cards, but one of the more situational ones as well. Probably like bottom of B. She can get pretty big and can like carry a move deck, so I'd say she's pretty good. Especially a lot of the locations limit options, so move becomes stronger, and then your opponents will have all their cards concentrated to one location. Dagger gets bigger for each card they have concentrated there, so I'd say she's probably B. Daredevil, some people like this card a lot. I'm going to put it in B. I like this card as well. It's probably somewhere around here, allowing you to get solid value by being able to read your opponent, or not read, I guess, because the game tells you, Daredevil tells you what your opponents are playing on that 5th turn of the game. Very good with Professor X. It could be with Spider-Woman, but also Gamora and Hobgoblin. allowing you to target exactly what your opponent's doing and mess them up. Also, you could do Enchantress, maybe, onto a Sarah, and you can also do a Cosmo block. So, overall, Daredevil's a solid card. Not necessarily the best, but a very solid one, especially if you're not very good at reading your opponents. And I'm not the best, certainly. We see Deadpool, an interesting destroy card. I don't know how good Deadpool is exactly. If you don't draw him early, it's really bad. It can be good with Taskmaster and Venom and some other things, but overall I'd say Deadpool's relatively underwhelming part of the destroy package, so probably top of C. I mean, it's still one of the best decks in the game, Deadpool or Deathpool. But Deadpool, like, often takes up a lot of energy to play it over and over again, and you're going to miss out on stuff, so Deadpool can fall short a lot. We see Debris, in my opinion, an amazing card. We got Debris junk decks, which are just insane, where you try to flood your opponent's board. I think she's probably A tier. Maybe I'm being... Nah, I think Debris is really good. She just completely messes up your opponent by filling their board, and then you can also buff your own rocks up from Debris, and so I think she's very good. You can do her with specifically Destroy. You can play her with Junk, where you try to send like goblins and stuff over. And you can also play her with Patriot, which is okay. The Patriot's probably not that good, but overall, I think Debris is pretty solid. You also see Electro here. A pretty good card. Not one I personally love, but a good ramp card. Debatably the best ramp card. So better than Psylocke. Oh no, Psylocke's not. Psylocke's also tier 3, so I haven't series 3, so I haven't put her on this list yet. But I think Electro is probably that's a good card. I'm tempted to say A. I'll say A as well. Electro provides very solid value to a number of decks and can allow you to do some absurd combos. Very good with Galactus. Very good with what else? Electro's very good with stuff like. I don't know. I don't play Electro too much, but Electro can be good and is often very good with new locations, which is kind of fun. But we see Falcon here, another solid bounce card. Well, the other bounce card. Not that good of a card, though. I'd say probably D tier. It often struggles to find value, but in bounce, Falcon's very important to bounce, allowing you to play those 1-drops, but also it takes power off the board for you, so it's not always great. Gambit, one of the most interesting cards in the game. It destroys your opponent's cards, but it's either really hard to set up or very inconsistent, or just like bad. So, Gambit, I don't know. I'd probably like C tier, probably mid. No, probably like low C tier, somewhere around here, just above Electro and Sabretooth. Yeah, that's fine. I think Gambit's an okay card. Some people really like him, but often a very situational card and doesn't always provide a lot of power, especially with a lot of people playing Armor and now Colossus seeing play as well. And Professor X, Gambit can just come up short a lot. Goose, one of the most interesting control cards, probably bottom of B tier, allowing you to just wall off certain locations from big plays. Sometimes it can be super good, but most of the time Goose is just kind of meh. I think Goosey's playing Zabu, if I remember correctly, which is fine, but I don't think Goose is amazing, but not bad either. Green Goblin, in my opinion, a really strong card if you can set it into certain locations. But overall, I think Green Goblin is kind of meh. I guess B tier, but not particularly high B tier. A bit better than Hobgoblin, very similar, allowing you to push power and push that location early. For example, if Super Flow, you can drop Green Goblin early to mess them up. It's somewhat... It can get Odin'd. Both Hobgoblin and Green Goblin can get Odin back to you. And that's kind of funny, but it doesn't happen too often. I say Green Goblin's a very okay card in a very solid part of that Debris Junk deck, which is very good. Hazmat, who also recently got buffed, but I think Hazmat's an okay card. She's probably pretty good now. Another very important part of that Debris Junk deck. And this is probably, I'll say mid B. She's pretty good, allowing you to push a lot of negative power onto your opponent's side of the board, which they hate. Not too much, but another card that puts negative power sometimes onto your opponent's side of the board with Viper is the Hood, who's a very good card in my opinion. Not A tier good, but like B tier again. Able to push. You can push negative power, but you can also get that demon, which is really good. Can be buffed up as well. So I'd say probably like a B tier. Human Torch, a very, very good move card, like the best move card. Honestly, A tier move card by far the best. Being able to be doubled. It's like Deadpool, but it's like stronger. It's like twice as strong, so it's very good. And I think makes the move archetype for the most part in this meta, although it doesn't really see that much play, but it's still an okay card. Invisible Woman, she's pretty good. You can do some fun combos behind her. Honestly, I'll put her in A tier. Nah, she's not A tier. She's like B tier. Probably put her. She doesn't necessarily provide a lot of value. It depends on counters. I think counters are a bit down right now, though. We'll put her in top of C. She's good for countering counters, but she can definitely fall short a lot as well. And Juggernaut, another B tier card. Just very good for like winning locations in the control style deck. I'd say probably B, like mid B here, or low B. A very okay card. Kingpin, pretty bad. This card like destroys cards when you move them here on the last turn of the game. I've almost never seen this card work, so probably F tier. Top of, like somewhere around here. Not a particularly good card. Not the worst though. Pretty close to the worst though. Often doesn't provide any value. A Lockjaw, easy A tier card. Allowing you to cycle through your deck. Probably one of the best cards that I don't have yet. And so probably pretty high in A. Somewhere like here. Now, he allows you to just see more cards in your deck, have greater consistency, and also allow you to activate multiple abilities, which is really nice. So overall, really, really solid card. But I don't know. Sometimes it's inconsistent, but I think Lockjaw provides a lot to a lot of decks. Luke Cage, another part of that Debris Junk deck. But overall, Luke Cage isn't that good. Very situational and combo based. Probably D tier. Looking at one of the more underwhelming cards, probably pop him right in like the middle of D tier. He's, and also not worth the investment. Just like Agent Coulson, one of the pretty weak series, like higher series cards. Mira Hale's also pretty weak, but I think she could have some value. I'd still probably put her in like bottom of D. Pretty underwhelming. Maximus, this card's really good. A tier, not quite. Maybe like mid, like high B, allowing you to push a lot of power for like just one of the best stat lines in the game. And its effect doesn't like completely ruin you. It does give your opponent more options, but overall, I think Maximus is a very, very strong card. M'Baku, hot trash. Don't play M'Baku like ever. I guess you could put in Lockjaw, but probably not. Kind of funny, but iconically bad. Probably. I mean, definitely F tier. I guess. Yeah, bottom of F. Like, M'Baku is just so bad. I don't know why you'd ever want him. I don't think I don't have him locked, I don't think. But I can't see myself ever putting him into a deck except for maybe Lockjaw. I have this Lockjaw Cerebro 2 deck I'm working on. As I said, I don't have Lockjaw yet, but I'm about to get it. But M'Baku just isn't very good. So, pretty bad. Mojo, one of the better ongoing cards. Probably C tier, though. Often doesn't trigger. So top is like mid C, I guess. It's a card that if it works, it's just amazing, but it doesn't work a lot of the time. So I'd say just C. Can be played in Spectrum, ongoing decks, but overall pretty underwhelming. C. Moon Knight, a pretty solid card, allowing you to disrupt your opponent's hand. I've seen my opponent like drop into Kamar-Taj with Wong or something, and then just like delete my whole hand. But overall, it's pretty inconsistent and random, so again, another C tier. Okay, discard card. Probably worse than Colleen Wing. Probably better than Blade. Put him like right here. Pretty solid card, but doesn't find consistent amazing value. Mysterio, who actually recently got nerfed, still a B tier card. Somewhere around here. He just puts these illusions, which can get buffed up with Patriot, or can also get destroyed by Carnage and stuff like that. So really solid value of Mysterio even after the nerf, making him not overpowered, but I think Mysterio is still very good. Mystique, amazing, easy A tier card, probably somewhere around here, allowing you to just get a ton of value by copying ability like Patriot or something. We have Patriot right here, as well as Cerebro, but really amazing with Patriot, who's probably, I'm tempted to say, yeah, Patriot's probably S tier. Just amazing value when you put it into play. You need to build your deck around it and sacrifice the rest of your deck. But man, you can get some insane stuff, especially with Squirrel Girl, Brood, Mr. Sinister. There's so many amazing combos where you can just get really, really high power outputs and be pretty consistent about it as well. Polaris, one of the better cards. Honestly, she might be A tier. No, I'll put her into B tier. B tier is getting really thick here, but that's fine. Most of the cards are pretty well balanced. Probably like upper B, like top of B, allowing you to pull over your opponent's cards, but also having a really solid stat line. I think Polaris is one of the better cards, one of the most underrated cards, but a very good card. Psylocke, probably like A tier. One of the best ramp options in the game. One of the simplest, but one of the best. Probably popping in here at like right around here. One of the best cards, allowing you to just deny your opponent's actions. I think Psylocke's just truly amazing. Nothing really competes with her. She can ramp early into like Wong and stuff, and just set up some insane combos. So Psylocke's pretty cracked. We see Quake here. I don't think Quake's good like at all. I don't really know why you'd ever play her. She's F tier. She moves locations, but you don't really have any control. I've never seen it. I've only seen one clip of Quake. That's where the person used Quake. They played Quake. They also paired it with Kingpin, and their Kingpin killed itself. So that was kind of funny, but Quake is kind of trash. So yeah, probably. You also need to, I think, play Quake at the middle location. I've never seen her play it. So, and I've never played her either. She's trash. Maybe somewhere around here. And then Quinjet, a really good card, allowing you to essentially Sarah for one, except it's only cards that don't start in your deck. So cards that don't start in your deck are cheaper. There are a few really good combos with this. I think this is probably somewhere near the bottom of A, but Quinjet's still an amazing card if you're trying to just mess around and get something really strong. Get some fun high rolls, and also incorporate some of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like Agent Coulson, Bria Hill, Nick Fury, and I don't remember, Agent 13. You can pair the Quinjet with them, so you can get these cheaper cards and play a lot of them. And I think Quinjet's a very solid card. I played it with Bounce, so you can pair it with all sorts of stuff, but just an amazing card. And Moon Girl as well. Moon Girl Quinjet's pretty insane. Rogue here. This is an okay card. Less versatile than Enchantress, but theoretically stronger as well. Probably like bottom of C, though. She comes up short a lot. I like her, but I think I overvalue her, so probably C. Ooh, Silver Surfer. Probably bottom of S. Just insane value, allowing you to just you probably get like 20 value with this, 20 power with this card, buffing up all your 3 costs like you do Brood, Mr. Fantastic. You get all these 3 costs into play. And maybe not 20 value, but certainly like 15 value power you probably get out of it. It's insane. One of the best cards in the game, and just so strong. Thor, we see probably very solid B tier card, higher than this, but somewhere around here, allowing you to just get a very solid and pretty strong 3 cost with the downside of sacrificing deck consistency. But overall, if you're looking for just a solid 3 cost, throw in Thor. Very solid. If you're going for like a very interesting mid-range deck, you can also pull it out with Jane Foster, the Mighty Thor, who has synergy with this card. Not necessarily the best in my opinion, but not bad either. This is Titania. This card I don't think is very good. It's pretty random and janky. I've never really seen it work well, so not bottom of F bad, but like probably bottom of, she's better than Yondu. She's probably like mid-low F, or mid-high F. Not that good. Venom, really interesting card. I'll say like bottom of B. It often struggles to do really good stuff, but I've seen Venoms get like 1,000 power. It just eats up all the stuff in location. It's like Carnage, and it gets the power of the cards. So you're not actually getting a ton of power value. However, you can do some insane combos with Venom and Arnim Zola and stuff, which is pretty crazy. But overall, it's a bit of an underwhelming card a lot of the time. Viper, a very solid piece of the junk deck, allowing you to send over bad stuff to your opponent's side. Probably, and this is one of the better cards I don't own as well, that I want to own, and probably like B here, somewhere around there. We'll put it right next to Hazmat. Two of them just create some awesome synergies where you can send over the hood, most notably, but also you can send over rocks from debris and stuff like that, allowing you to just mess up what your opponent's doing. I think Viper is very good. She can come up short, but overall, very good. See, Wasp, a pretty underwhelming card. It doesn't provide much value, which is kind of the point, but I don't think she applies like any value most of the time. Pretty garbage. Not that garbage, but I don't really play her in any decks. Like I play Patriot and I don't play Wasp because she doesn't provide enough. Okay, and Lockjaw, I'll say that brings her to bottom of C, but overall, no, she's higher than that. Maybe bottom of B because she's very good with Lockjaw, but overall, not that good. Wave, this is probably the best card we've seen so far. Wave allows you to ramp, but also allows you to disrupt your opponent, allows you to do some crazy combos with She-Hulk and some other stuff. I think Wave's certainly in contention for one of the best cards in the game. I'll put her in S tier. I think she's amazing. If you see her in her shop, definitely pick her up. She's very good. Also with Death, she's amazing. You can literally drop like 30, 40 power in the last turn of the game if you do Wave just the right way. And then we see Yellow Jacket. This card's trash. I don't think you'd ever play this. It's like actual garbage. Reduces, I guess it's okay now with Luke Cage or Valkyrie, but it's not that. I wouldn't really ever choose to play this card in those decks. It's probably the worst card in the game. Zero, really interesting card, allowing you to turn off your own abilities. Theoretically very strong, and also a very solid stat line. This is, I'm going to put Zero in A. Zero is really turning out to be a very strong card right now. Also with the new Sauron cards, Zero is a bit more viable. Not that much more viable, but I think this helps. I think Zero's an A tier card. But yeah, that's all the 3 cost and below cards in Series 3 and above, which is a bit of a mouthful to say. But yeah, you can see the tier this tier. I'll zoom in, I guess, and scroll through it so you can see them. But some of the best cards, some of the worst cards, and then Wave, Patriot, and Silver Surfer. Just some amazing 3 cost cards in the game right now. Just so dominant, allowing you to push so much power. And also some of them stop your opponent, but the best cards in the game aren't just counter cards. So I hope you enjoyed this video, though. If you have any thoughts, please comment them below. It's super useful for me. Also, I hope you will like and subscribe if you haven't done that already. It really means a lot to me. Obviously, if you don't enjoy the video, don't like it. But I hope you enjoyed it, of course. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.